a transmutation of death into life everlasting, a transmutation of ignorance into wisdom. And all this was done by a very elaborate process. The secrets of transmutation are beautifully and symbolically set forth in a number of works. Many chemists were deceived by the terms, however, and felt that the formulas were purely physical, but they were not. They were all keys to the release of the infinite life locked within existence itself. Transmutation was transformation, regeneration, resurrection, restoration, reformation. All these things are releases of the seed of eternity within time, the seed of life everlasting in the symbolic substance of illusional disintegration. So we take this point to view a little bit to study the subject which is of great concern to us at the present moment, the regeneration of human society. Now, there are many attitudes on this particular subject. Many feel, for instance, today, in a general disillusionment, that the hoped-for restoration is far removed. Others doubt its reality, just as scientists have doubted that gold could be made from base metals, so politicians and diplomats doubt seriously that peace can be brought out of the confusion in human consciousness. Everywhere, dissolution, division, and mortality rules human relationships. This, however, is contrary to universal law. There is within humanity as a collective also the seed of its own regeneration. Everything grows from seed. Someone must plant the seed of peace, or there will never be seeds of peace in the world. In the book of Revelation, there is a tree that bears 12 manner of fruit, which is for the healing of the nations. This tree represents a truth, a reality, a great revelation, growing from a seed in human consciousness. Now, human beings today all have within them the seed of their own perfection. The perfection is not something added. It is something released. It is not bestowed. It is revealed through the internal structure of human consciousness. If we go back, for instance, to the period of Plato and Aristotle, we realize that when Plato died, there probably were not 20 copies of his dialogues in existence, and they were all handwritten by his disciples for their own use. So far as world knowledge, world recognition of Plato's contribution in his own day, there was none. Whatever he attempted to do, he did, and when he finally passed out of this life, he left no institution behind him. He left nothing that endured. He left not even a solid codex of his own writings. And yet today he is better read, better known, and better appreciated than ever before, because somewhere within the nature of his own labor there was the seed of restoration. That which was truth in his writings can never die. The same is true of the words of Christ. Those words were not printed in his own lifetime. Only a few ever saw them or heard them or saw him. But that which is eternal, inevitable, cannot die. And the true tree of life in us cannot die. Today we have many confusions in the world. We have a series of labors that have gone sour. We have attempted to do great things, but they were not the things that were necessary. And in the effort to be great, we have failed to fulfill the natural simplicity of ourselves. We have accepted the idea that fame and fortune are the answers to the human problem. But until fame and fortune are regenerated, until the true seeds within both fame and fortune are restored to their original scientific and spiritual dignities, we will never get anywhere with them. Every mistake, every sorrow, every problem that we have has within it the seed of its own solution. and also it is contributing to the ultimate perfection of ourselves, our world, and our universe. To find these things, we have to begin to search for the keys to regeneration, the keys to restoration. Now, it so happens that these keys have not been entrusted to the sky or the earth. They've been entrusted to man himself. Because of those creatures existing on earth today, the human being is the most evolved, having the greatest potentials, having the greatest equipment with which to accomplish major good in this world. The human being has the facilities, the mental abilities, the rational faculties by which he can take the seed of eternity within himself and release it as described in the structure of Kabbalistic philosophy. So we have here today a world of people, nearly 5 billion, perhaps a little more, each one of which, whether it knows it or not, is immortal. Each one of these creatures has been endowed with a potential. In each human being, the seed of eternity has been sown in the fields of time. The human being could not breathe, could not walk, could not think, could not exist if eternity was not within him. The eternal life, the life of all things, is that which gives man life. Each kingdom of nature unfolds this life according to its own rules and laws. Each kingdom of nature tries to expand its potentials. We see the gradual development of the plant kingdom, in which a small lichen somewhere gradually develops into a magnificent tree. We see all the flowers of the field. We also see all the beautiful crystals in the rocks. Everywhere something of a divine nature is being revealed through kingdoms of nature. In the animal kingdom, other values are revealed. We discover perceptions and reflective powers that we do not even take for existing, let alone take for granted. Then we finally come to the individual, the human being, who is the sum of all this evolutionary process. Here we have a being of which, for instance, we can mention such beings as Leonardo da Vinci. We can think in terms of Michelangelo. We can think of terms of Stradivarius or any of the great leaders of human arts, crafts, and revelations. We can think of the saints and the sages, all of the different degrees of development and unfoldment that already are obvious in the human being. They are obvious because he is endowed with them. They are obvious because they are manifestations of the thing that makes him exist, and that is the divine seed of life within himself. That which is within himself is his own immortality. It is also in that part of him which functions in his daily life. It is that power within him which digests his food, keeps his heart beating, controls and regulates digestion and elimination. It is this same power that gives him the right to write a book, to make a great contribution in art or music or science or philosophy. All the different departments of life arise from one tiny seed, the divine seed in man. It is this one divinity which is the unit. This is the monad of existence. This is the one from which all things come. And yet all things in their infinite divisions are still one. From one source all knowledge arises. For one purpose all knowledge exists, and that is the perfection and growth of living things. In our course of life, politically and socially, we have forgotten almost entirely the part of ourselves which alone can be solutional. We cannot solve with the mind unless the mind is inspired. We cannot create with the hand unless the hand is regulated and guided. We cannot create with the body unless the body itself responds to a divine eternity within itself. So here we are, human beings, each with a different kind of destiny, each dedicated to some purpose, each one hoping, fearing, believing, each one living and dying within a peculiar situation